Hey everybody, it's Thea, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Garden Goddess Tarot, for another fun time, hopefully. That's the plan anyway. We've decided it is time, and we're going to officially do the Only 10 Indie Decks video. And by we, I mean the wonderful, the infamous, needs no introduction at all, Meg at Rose Honey Ritual. So, a few months ago, it was probably like 4 or 5 months ago, I don't even know how long ago it was, we started a tag which was kind of a play on Katie Flowers' Only 10 Decks, where we picked only 10 mass market decks. And since then, we've kind of always had it in the back of our minds to eventually get around to doing the Only 10 Indie Deck tag version. So here we are. Rules are simple, very, very similar to the Only 10 mass market decks. Just pick 10 of your decks that are independently produced. If you could only have those 10, what would they be? It's like the ultimate favorites list. So yeah, I've picked 10. And I've also picked 10 other ones, which I don't know if I'm going to do the honorable mentions in this video or if I'll do it as a second video. We'll see. Only time will tell. But we will go over my favorite, most used indie decks that I can't live without. So if you're unfamiliar, indie just means independently produced, so a deck creator that has not gone through a mass market publisher to create their decks on a grand scale. Like some of these might be like massively distributed, just vastly popular within the tarot community and have gone all sorts of ways, but they're still independently produced. Another good indication too is that when you're buying them, you're either buying them directly from the creator so that you know that 100% of what you pay touches the hands of the person who made it. So that's what we've got here, a big old stack of decks. So I'm gonna get started or else we'll be here forever. Fun times. And I think I'm also going to splice in some overhead footage so I can really see what's going on. Let me look. That's the plan anyway. Okay. All right, we're tucking in. Oh, also, with the Only 10 mass market decks, we kind of had the caveat that you could do, like, have an RWS, a Marseille, or a Thoth as like a freebie. However, with the indie deck version, no freebies. No freebies at all. You gotta make some decisions. There's no like universally standard indie decks that like everybody has been exposed to, so all bets are off. Only 10. Let's get cracking. So the first one on the list is this beastie. And this beastie is the Illuminated Earth Oracle by Claire Mack. This was one of the first indie decks that I ever actually purchased. Which is kind of impressive. I did, as we all do when we're getting into tarot, a crap ton of research. And I found the type of deck I was looking for. I knew I wanted an earthy deck. I knew I wanted something that was expansive and useful, the kind of deck that would really complement a tarot deck really, really quite well. And I feel like this one hit the mark for me. It did everything that I wanted it to do. It was expansive, it was earthy, it lended itself really nicely to the way I read tarot. So yeah, that's the Illuminated Earth Oracle by Claire Mack, and it's one of my favorite, just for clarifying for even if you're just going to use an oracle deck on its own, it works really well, but I really love it in tandem with tarot, just because like there's separate reflection, wisdom, like they're expansive, but on their own, it's kind of like, okay, wisdom, like what? But then like, let's pull another one out and see, and disguise. So like when you start to stack them on top of each other and then make it build a story for you, it can do that really well. Mystery, disguise, wisdom, ooh, intrigue, transient. Let's give another one. Pull it out for funsies. Moon, again, cycle. Oh wow, okay. This is like secret divine feminine wisdom we got going on here, like mystery, disguise, you've like hidden it even from yourself, cycles of the moon, that layer of the subconscious, and like the transient cyclical nature of that said moon, and how this knowledge comes and goes. It's just, anyway, this is a delightful deck. Sorry, I could just accidentally start doing a reading on the table, but that's just kind of how I use that one. I've edged it poorly in gold. Most of it's kind of come off because I use this so much. I've had this for many years and it's just, a delight. It's a winner. Sorry if I'm like looking up. This is a new thing for me. This like multi-camera filming. But yeah, that's what the backs look like. It's nice. It's like a rose petally matte finish as well, but it's like not super sticky. So it does, mind you, mine's super broken in. I've had it for, I don't know, a couple years at this point, a year and a half maybe. I don't know. What is time? I don't understand. I probably had it longer than I think I have. Let me just say that. But anywho, that is number 1 of if I can only have 10 indie decks. Huzzah. Cute. All right, let's get that out of the road. The next one, which was an obvious choice, is this beastie. This beastie is the Devas of Creation Oracle deck by Silicon Way, and this was also one of the first Oracle decks I ever purchased because it fit what I wanted in an Oracle deck so well, and I got it, and it did. So it's pretty broken in and chipped and worn, and it's lived a good life in my hands. But basically this deck I use every single day. I pull a card or two, whatever kind of pops out, and use it on my altar every day to kind of gauge the way my energy interacts with the world, and it just kind of sets the tone for the day really, really well. So this is the book it comes with. I have a bag for it. It's never actually been in it just because it's out all the time. It's always in use in some way. But yeah, working with the energies of the universe. Useful guidebook. I do actually reference the guidebook often, just if I want a little bit more detail about said energy. And also I keep this, it's like Mondo hunk of clear quartz on top of it. But I'll show you some cards just so you can get an idea of what they look like. But they're very, very Silicon Way, right? They're that like really fluid and energetic type painting that just plays with color and shape and form really quite well. And I love. So you'll notice that there's no titles on here. A very nice clean blank canvas. The color is what really hits you. You kind of get a sense of the mood, the vibe, the energy when you're looking at it, and even that just kind of, it has a message for it in itself. But there's a little tiny number in the bottom corner there, and that corresponds to the card in the guidebook, so it'll tell you what it is. And even I'm pretty sure, like this is the storm energy one, that's autumn. Like I have been using it for over a year every day, and I still have to look up a lot of them, which is totally fine. Nebula, Galaxy, that one's Shadow, or is it, there's a Guilt one. Anyway, so yeah, it covers lots. Not all Sunshine and Roses. There's like troublesome shadow cards. Basically just that primal Davic energy of the universe, and it's kind of just been narrowed down into really succinct categories that are very handy. That one's trees and plants. The planets are all in here. Seasons, that's insects, a little bee, so cute. And that was Pluto. Mountains, so there's like earth formations. Here's another one of the shadow cards. Source card, that's number 2. That one might be summer. But yeah, just very beautiful. I love. Show you for days. Ooh, I like that one. Anyway, it just plays really well. It's very poignant. The messages sit nicely, and I just really enjoy. Couldn't see myself without this deck. And actually, this was one of the ones that I really missed when I went away for a few weeks on my trip to Greece, and I didn't have it with me. And I was like, dang, I miss it. So, that's that. The Devas of Creation. Perfect. Okay, the next one. Should we do it? Let's do it. I feel like any later would be doing it a disservice, and you know what's coming, so brace yourself. Another indie deck, which I couldn't live without. My practice would not be whole without this little stinker right here. This beastie is the Hellenic Oracle by yours truly, and I was thinking of just not including it, but I couldn't not include it. I had to. It's the brainchild of me. My boy. Yeah, it was the deck. I've talked about it so many times. You know. It's a Greek mythology, deity-specific oracle deck using neoclassical paintings. And it's titled in Greece, transliterated to English, no guidebook. It's intuitive while also tapping into what you already know about Greek mythology. It's an opportunity to dive deeper and learn about all the different deities. This version of the deck is like 100 cards thick, so it's not short of any, like it's not a small deck. It's not one that you're gonna be like, oh, that's it. Like, no, it just keeps going and it just keeps going and it just keeps going. It's like three Los Carabeo decks stacked on top of each other, of their oracle ones. But it's just a great way to interact with Greek mythology. I love pulling multiple cards, getting a story. You can tell how the different deities interact with each other. If you're familiar with the myths, you can kind of place them together, and sometimes like different gods within the same myths will come up, so you'll kind of focus on that story a little bit for your message for the day or to answer the question you've asked. There's places that are landscape paintings, primordial gods, titan gods, the Olympians, and whatnot. So this one here is obviously a winner. Ember and Demeter together, yes! With Themis in the middle, ooh. Erebus the Darkness, my gosh. This is one of my favorite cards. So beautiful. And actually, so is this one. Ooh, Kronos. Let's see who we got here. Oh, Kronos and Kronos. Excellent. Love that. Mixed with Erebus the Darkness. Great. So fun. Woo. Harmonia. Pythia. And then Muses. Oh, okay, sorry. I get excited. It's a fun time. So anyway, that's the Hellenic Oracle. There's an expansion pack as well. I'm not including it in my only 10 indie decks because I really don't use it as much as the original one. But it exists. It has a lot of the men and the heroes that are absent. So this one's specifically a deity deck, where the other one has like humans and men and the way they kind of weave themselves into the myths. But for me specifically, I wanted a deity energy, not human, not mortal energy. I wanted deity energy, and that's what this one is. And it is a treat. Love it much. I'm just gonna give it a shuffle just because I just want to show you how absolutely delicious she does. She's so good. Anyway, okay, that's enough. We get that out of the way first. So I just had to include. Very much had to. So that is the Hellenic Oracle. The next, who's gonna be next? Who's gonna be next? I'm gonna do this one next. This is the Super Oracle, and this is another one that entered my life very early on in my tarot expansion journey. This is by UC Studios. They are the creators of the Pagan Otherworlds and the Materia Prima deck. I heard there's also a new one coming out. I'm very curious about. But this one is just a very beautiful kind of Jungian psychology-based oracle deck that is a little bit alchemical, but beautiful and great. And I read it very intuitively. It's a great clarifier. I prefer it with tarot again. Like most of my oracles, I do tend to use with tarot, except perhaps the Hellenic Oracle. That one kind of lives nicely on its own. But it reads really well to clarify. It reads really well to focus, to kind of bring about other inquiries, ways to dive deeper. If you've got a very heady, mentally kind of focused practice, this one is great for that. But yeah, very stunning. It's like a creamy background color with ink drawings on top of it. Seems very timeless and classic art style. You'll notice the similarity between the style of decks that I really resonate with. They all kind of have a lot of the same timeless and classic vibe. Spans the centuries, kind of human experience throughout the ages, and not just kind of like locked in any particular time period. But yeah, just I think what I'm mostly interested in, especially with my work with tarot and oracle, is that universal human experience, and just being able to kind of get a glimpse at the way other people experience life and how they may have seen it, how it's the same and how it's different, but more so how it's the same. It's like when you're traveling. This is a weird analogy, but hey, there's a little fella. Well, sorry. Earth. When you're traveling, you're traveling to kind of figure out what you are in the place you are. So like what makes you unique and special in your place. And you got to find that out by going to other places and kind of seeing yourself in the context of the rest of the world. So that's kind of what I kind of use card work for also. Universal path working. Ooh. Ooh! Sorry. this trio is nice. I like this. Transformation, Psyche, and Myth. Ooh. But yeah, it's very that. Very that indeed. Yeah. Okay, sorry. I could just... These are fun. Anyway, very much. This is a very curious deck. It's got some enigmatic personality quirks that are very unique to it, and like interesting choices about the way it was made and its structure specifically. So anywho, that is the Super Oracle by Uzi, and I use it a lot and think it's great, and it's one of my only 10 independently produced decks. Fun. Alright. Next on the list, who should we do next? Let's do this one. This beastie is one that very hesitant to include for reasons pertaining to the moral character of its creator and etc, etc, and so on and so forth. However, I thought, screw it. I use this so much. This is the Rackham Oracle. It's created by Duck Soup. I would not necessarily recommend like going all in for it if you're unsure, but if you're really drawn to it, and of all of the Rackham Oracles in existence, this one really floats your boat. It is a great deck. But I don't know. If you're the kind of person who's really hung up on the moral character of the creator, then maybe don't. But as an object on its own, out of the context of its creation, it's fantastic. This is an oracle deck using the art of Arthur Rackham, with very tasty $10 word keywords. So we've got influence, covetousness, gossip, and then there's like a little thing underneath. So like words of the unwise, opportunistic impulse, stirring the spirits. It gives you lots to chew on and think about. And it's not, this one is, it's kind of mean in like the readings you get. If you do not like being questioned, if you don't like being confronted, this may not be the deck for you. It does give you confronting messages. So yeah, festering resentments, force of mischief, tranquility disturbed. Like the majority of the deck is not nice. It's not a nice deck, but the atmosphere of the words chosen fits the atmosphere of the images really well, and it's got kind of like a dark and stormy storybook vibe to it, which is very Arthur Rackham as a rule anyway. The art's beautiful, so I think you could still pick your backs too. And to my knowledge, all of the decks that I'm going to be talking about today are still actually available, so you can. I tried my best not to include any out of print ones. One might be in the honorable mentions because I just couldn't not. But anyway, that's this one. It's a thick, glossy cardstock with gold sharp gilding. It's like not the most luxurious in the hand experience, but it does the trick. And I'm here for the creativity in the choice of keywords and just the way it approaches Oracle. Like I don't have an Oracle like this. There isn't one that's even remotely similar to this. Even the other Rackham Oracle is just pale in comparison. So that is the Arthur Rackham Oracle by Duck Soup. Neat. Cool. Alright, let's jump right into this one. Again, probably not a surprise if you're not new. Ritual Tarot by Theia May. Had to. And I know it's not everybody's favorite, but it's mine. Where's that little stone? I keep a little piece of sodalite in with the bag, which unfortunately caused a little bit of havoc. Well, I took this with me to Greece, which is part of the reason that this deck holds such a personal place with me. It sits very much right in my heart space, this deck. It's been through some stuff with me. It's like held my hand through some tough stuff, and it's been like a companion when I needed it. So whatever deck that was that happened to be would automatically get that status. So this has that on top of being just excellent and wonderful. But like, check out this beautiful piece of sodalite. Like, look at that. It looks like an angry ocean. It's perfect. It's like a dark and stormy kind of like churtling upset of the depths of the sea. That's what it kind of feels like. And anyway, that's kind of like the vibe I get from this beastie. So, oh look, it's the devil. Hey. This deck is by Theia. It is a investment piece of a deck, I will say. But it's an analog collage, hand cut tarot deck. There's no titles, but it comes with a little book, easy enough to look up. And once you're familiar with it, it's super easy to, like, that's the world card. Here's our High Priestess, 3 of Cups, Ace of Swords, 5 of Pentacles. Like, it's not difficult to discern which is which, but it's just full of, I don't know, I like the energy of it. It's a comfort and a joy. It's beautiful. A lot of the paintings and sculptures referenced I'm familiar with that have been used in the images. There's always lots to dive into, little bits and pieces to pick apart. It's not the busiest of collage decks. A lot of collage decks are very like ram-packed with stuff, and it's to the point where it's like potentially a little bit overwhelming. So this one is just stripped back just enough that there's like the perfect amount in most of the cards. And it's nice. It's a delight. She did a great job. I'm so glad that it found its way into my practice, because I can't really imagine my practice without it. So yeah. Anywho, I won't talk about this one too long because I feel like it's a point of conversation in a lot of different corners of the tarot sphere, but I thoroughly enjoy it. The Chariot card. Look at this. Oh, it's so good. So at first you're like, what? The Chariot? But there's a little Cancer right there, and then there's a Sphinx, and then there's the little wheels there, and then there's, it's very, it gives me Chariot. It does. It just takes a second to see. I do like having the Sphinx on the Chariot card. So good. With like the 4, it has like 4 bits of each of the 4 fixed signs, which pull the Chariot, and it's cool. Anyway, the cool angels and stuff. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. It's very cool. Oh, Dionysus. Look at him. Dionysus on the full card. Yes. Absolutely yes. So good. And pen there. Great Hermit. Oh, and my boy. We'll finish off with my boy. This poor card. I don't know if you can tell, it took a beating when it was in my bag. This one was on the top. Of course he was on top. He was just like hanging out on top right next to the rock. And then it, I don't know, it's pretty beat up right there. But that's okay. I colored it in with a marker. I always know where he is. but yeah. So good. Anywho. Thoroughly enjoy. Does a wonderful job. And I'm very excited about the Oracle deck she is currently creating. So keep an eye on our Instagram for updates on that one. Anyway, moving swiftly along. So the next one I'm going to talk about is keeping kind of within that Mediterranean energy that's kind of permeating this collection. So, you'll notice these decks, there's a lot of really great, amazing indie decks that I own and I love, but I really tried to keep it to the ones that I regularly use for my practice. So this isn't necessarily a compilation of like the best decks in existence, but more so the ones that I use the most that fit my practice the best, I guess. Which would make sense. If I could only pick 10, I'm gonna pick the 10 that I use the most. So anywho, here we go. Fularcos Tarot by Carmen Sorrenti. This one is so cool. Oh my gosh, I've had this for ages too. Like most of these ones are ones that are tried and true, have had around for a time. The guidebook on this one is fun. The little book that comes in the box with it, it's a little bit cryptic. It's a little bit different. It's not what you'd expect from your average tarot description, which is quite fun. But there's also a larger digital version of the guidebook available on her website? Or no, Arnell Art as well. That's where this one came from. Yes. So you can check it out there and download the digital version of that one to get a little bit more detail about the cards. Which I've read that one all the way through and it's good too. But it's still like beautiful. It has that kind of like read like poetry kind of way, but like more like philosophical poetry in paragraph form. Very good. Anyway, I'll show you some cards. But this is a very unique and different deck, and it has a beautiful structure that's unlike any other kind of tarot deck. So the majors, where is one, are all like fully painted, fully illustrated, like really quite detailed and, you know, juicy and delicious and full of joie de vivre, etc., etc. The minors tend to be a bit more, shall we say, soft scenic. They kind of lend themselves to a little bit more of not incompleteness, but they're a different art style entirely, compared to the majors, which you can see here. So there's a minor, there's a major, there's a minor, there's a major. So they kind of play a little differently together. So when you pull them in a reading, it's easy to tell the kind of difference between them. And then when you get to the tens and the court cards, they're very much more returning to that the essence, right? And then all of the knights, which in case they're the trails, they're all in black and white. It's interesting. All three of them just showed up right there. Wow, how cool. So it's a very unique tarot experience. It's great. I just love the messages you get from the guidebook as you're using it, the little bits and pieces that you can kind of read into. Like, this feels almost like field notes, or just like someone's quickly jotting down some like really big, crazy spiritual ideas in like the corner of a sheet of paper that they've come across, and that's just kind of like part of your message. And it all ties together the concepts of tarot really beautifully, and it's just a joy to use. And maybe not so much in looking at the cards, but in reading it with the guidebook, I feel personally there's a very distinct Mediterranean feel about it. Just that's the part of the world it was created in. Like the concept of Philarkos being these like spiritual cave dwelling beings who were kind of like meditating on the essence of life and that sort of thing. So, oh, beautiful song card. I love that one. Look at that. Woo! It's wonderful. It's different. It's unique. Every time I use it, it's like a whole new experience. So I would keep this one. Oh, I love this hermit card. Look at that. Such a treat. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, so yes, that is the Philarkos Tarot. A treat and enjoy, and one of the indie decks that I would definitely want to keep around my collection if I had to only pick 10. Ooh, did I show you the backs too? There it is. Oh, yes, yes, yes. So much yes. But yeah. Again, aligns really nicely with my practice and is just a very mystical, wonderful, wonderful tarot deck. Another one that I use regularly for my practice. So this one. I have to have this. I can't not have this deck. This is the Alchemical Tarot by Robert M. Place. This is the Blue Sky edition. There's like 6, 7 editions of this out now. There's one that's got green borders and gold edging. There's an older one without edging. It's been around for ages and it's wonderful. And really not that much has been changed. In this case, instead of there's one with sky. Instead of like a beige background, it's blue. It's beautiful though. It's like a little bit more natural and earthy in that case. It comes across really, really quite nicely. But this deck it's a tarot deck with really strong alchemical influences, and I usually read this one with his big book on Hermeticism, Neoplatonism, etc., etc. The one with like a really giant title. This one feels really, it does the shush shush. It's the really nice, soft, shushy mat. Love that feeling. There we go. Anyway, the reason that I have to have this, the reason that this deck is always going to need to be not too far is because I use it specifically. It has one job. This is one of the decks that I have designated one job to, and this deck is the one I use to communicate with the deity that I work with. So I find his significator card and I send him in to find answers for me when I want, or if we're just having a conversation or a chat about who knows what, how I'm feeling at the time. That's what I use this one for. So there's a lot of delicious and juicy tidbits that I could use otherwise, but this deck has just been designated for that specific purpose, and it's what I use it for. And I'm sure I could be using this deck for so much more like personal and spiritual alchemy specifically, just the way it works with the elements and the alchemical processes. But I so far just use it to communicate with my deity, so it's gotta stay. That is the Alchemical Tarot by Mr. Robert M. Place. And it's fun. Like, I can go on little rabbit holes with this one every so often, which is great, but I don't. I use it like very surface level like a tarot, just to have a conversation. And there's, sorry, it's my boy. There's something to be said about using a tarot for that. Like, you don't always have to absolutely milk every single one of the things out of it. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to kind of like drain it of its essence. You can kind of leave it be. Like the whole point, like arcana means secrets. There should still be some secrets in there, some things for you to yet discover and learn. And you know, there's once you've learned everything, once you think you've got there, it's no fun anymore. And really, that's not the point, because you can never learn everything. You can never know everything. So, oh, and the chariot, a little King of Pentacles, beautiful. Anywho, yes. So this is one that I like to use, very surface level, but it contains multitudes that I have a lifetime of work to get into eventually. But for right now, and the way I use it, it's a tool for my practice, very specifically. Yeehaw, oodalally. So yes, that is the Alchemical Tarot by Monsieur Robert M. Place. I'll show you the backs. Lady Alchemilla, beautiful. So cute. For my number 9 deck, I'm cheating. To no one's surprise, I'm picking 3. I couldn't not have all 3 of these. Oh, 3. I'm picking 4. I can count. There's 3 Oracle and a Tarot, and in my brain, they go together. They're all part of like the same bubble of practice, and I didn't want to take up half of my list by including all of them. So the first one here we'll start is the Red Seeds Tarot by Linda Hill, and it is based on the Greek Eleusinian Mysteries. And again, this one entirely I've chosen because of my practice and what I do and how I work and why it's important to me. So I use this partially in my year ahead spread. This is a very, when I'm doing more of my like earthy, Demeter-y type work, this one comes out. And it is based on the Eleusinian Mysteries. It's kind of a progression through the different phases that we know through the mysteries in ancient Eleusis and ancient Greece. This particular mystery cult was the longest running one in ancient Greece. It was like vastly popular. Like certain philosophers you may be familiar with partook in these mysteries and got initiated into these secrets, and it's kind of beautiful to be able to kind of experience that tradition from a distance, even just to learn and to, you know, as opposed to, I don't know, maybe one day I will do the walk from Athens to Eleusis, but not in the cards immediately right now. But for now, I can work with this deck and, you know, do my thing and have a great time. And it's, you know, very wonderful and insightful. And again, I use it very specifically, so I couldn't leave it behind. So yes, that is the Red Seed Tarot. Very interesting style of art. You'll notice this one is very different to all of the other ones. This is a very unique and more modern style of art, but I do kind of appreciate it, and really the pure magic of this is in the experience of working with the guidebook with it too. So that is the Red Seed Tarot, which the reference to pomegranates, which is a Demeter, Persephone, cycles of the seasons, birth and rebirth, life and death, underworld, upper world kind of enmeshment, and it's delightful and a treat, and I often like to go there mentally. And alongside it, I have the 3 Red Seed Oracles. So like they're all the same deck. They're all the Red Seed deck. Anyway, we've got 1, 2, and 3. These are all basically goddess decks. So very similar to the Hellenic Oracle, and it does kind of feel a little bit like a repeat, but these kind of, this being specifically goddess energy and not a mixture of male female deity, it kind of sits different. But each of the cards has a beautiful piece of artwork on the front, and then on the back is the name of the goddess, oh Sophia, and then a write-up about the message and the goddess, as well as some keywords on the back. And in the top corner we've got a beautiful quote from the first deck. They're all Rumi quotes. From the second deck they're all Sappho quotes, and the third deck they're all Marion Woodman quotes. So stunning and amazing. Wouldn't have picked any better quotes to have there, but they're a great way to just, if you're looking for, it's a specific time I pull this one out. It's a specific type of message, kind of like that comforting, empowering kind of like being held by the goddess kind of energy, to use this deck. That's kind of where I feel like I sit with this one. And it's not just Greek gods too. So we've got Santa Marte in here. There's a lot of Roman goddesses, and especially as we get into the later decks, like the 2 and the 3, it does kind of diversify, and you get like female deities all over. You got Kali, you got Lakshmi, like they're all in there. But for the most part, they are specifically, like the vast majority of them are Greek goddesses. But yeah, it's got that like ancient goddess energy in its various faceted forms. They're all separate, but they're all kind of the same in their, in a way or another. You know, it's that like separate but together, you know, kind of thing. And it's just a great way to work with feminine energy and femininity and, you know, goddess work in general. So there's quite a few, like there's a good span. We got Frigg, there was Hecate, Tergatis, Syrian goddess, Nisaba, Inanna, an ancient Sumerian goddess. She's big news. Venus, she's Roman. The witch hair, that appears to be an Egyptian one. What else we got? Ooh, one of the harpies. Iris, goddess of the rainbow. Anyway, it's just, and they're beautiful. It's just kind of, it's just a nice little message. And the cards are like luxurious and waxy and big, and it's fun. It like, because they're so big too, like these are not small cards. Here's the Alchemical Tarot for comparison. Like they're not small. But yeah, it's just like it's a very like tactile experience, just like having these big cards in your hand and like going through them and spending time with each goddess. And oh yes, Tiamat, beautiful. Arachne, Medusa, there's Caradwin, Theia, Vesta. I think Theia's in here too, actually. Maybe is she in this one? Let me find. Let me see. Oh, there's Demeter. Obviously, so good. Ariadne, oh my heart. Melissa, Hera, Sybil, Nemesis, Pasithea, Starta, Chronia, no, she's not in here, but I know Theia's in one of them. So, we like that. So anyway, that's the Red Seed Oracle. And it's accompanying other ones, which I have half a mind to like shuffle all together into like a big Mondo epic Red Seed deck, like these 3 together, but I would not be able to handle it. So usually I just kind of decide whether I would like Rumi, Sappho, or Marion Woodman, and then I grab the deck, or I just close my eyes and like reach and grab one, and then that's the one. Because really when you're pulling cards, it doesn't matter which one you use. The one you ended up using was the one you were always going to use, and that's always what was going to happen anyway. So there's no really wrong answer. You've never pulled any wrong cards. You've never pulled a card that's not for you. For some reason, that was the card that was supposed to be shown to you at the time, and that's how it was. And I like, that's always a little bit reassuring. So anywho, Red Seed decks. My number 9 indie deck that I would not be without, even though it's 4. I'm a big cheater. Righto. Okay, and I guess the last one of the 10 indie decks that I would not be without is this beastie. And this is the Tree Spirit Tarot. I had to have some plant representation here just because it's part of what I do. Like the garden part. So we've got Garden, Goddess, and Tarot thoroughly covered in this choice of indie decks, which I'm kind of proud of myself about. But the Tree Spirit Tarot, oh my gosh, who is it by? I forget. I'm the worst. I'll do a thingy because the book's still on the shelf. But it's a tarot and it's structured around trees. It's trees only, various types of trees, and the way the system has broken into like the fruit trees, the nut trees, the like evergreen trees, and the hardwood trees are all the different suits. So the system works really well, and the ones that were chosen for the majors are just perfect. So we'll go through, we'll show you some of them, but it's really well done. I'm hard pressed to find a deck of plants that aligns itself to tarot as well as this one. The High Priestess is pomegranate. Yes. There's a keyword as well, so it's extremely useful, and the write-ups in the book are great. It makes my plant / tree loving heart so happy. 4 of nuts. But It takes a little bit of getting used to because what you're looking at is a tarot, but it just kind of looks like a picture of a tree with a keyword. And then 4 nuts, what does that mean? But that's 4 pentacles. And then you get hickory, and the keyword is holding, so it's with storage and that sort of thing. So very and it aligns really well, and it's just so good. Monkey puzzle tree. I'm sorry, every time a monkey puzzle tree shows up to me in one way or another, I have to stop and talk about it. I can't not. I have this piece of petrified wood right here, and this is a monkey puzzle tree. It's a like fossilized petrified wood. It's a rock now, but at one point it was part of the bark of a monkey puzzle tree. And like, can you see it? Can you see it? Anyway, sorry, no, I'm obsessed with this. And I've never seen a monkey puzzle tree in real life. Whenever I see them on TV, if I'm watching a David Attenborough documentary or in Gardener's World or something, and there is a monkey puzzle tree in the background, I will shout at the television. I love them so much. It's the best name. I think it's an Arucacia is its Latin name. Stunning. Anyway, they're called that because like the way the needles on this tree kind of form little like fractal like pokies all the way up the side. So it's like, oh no, a monkey can't climb it because it's pokey. I just love it. And they're just so whimsical and wonderful. And they're hardy in England, so they can have them there in like the southern areas anyway. A lot of the botanical gardens, and I think Kew Gardens has a monkey puzzle tree too. Anyway, so excited about it. There you go. I got to gush about a monkey puzzle tree. You're welcome. Anywho, back to the deck. It's just great. If I want a little bit of grounding, if I want a bit of that like aliveness, especially in the depths of winter, you know, pulling this out and having a look at it is just refreshing and grounding while being uplifting at the same time. So good. Yes. What else we got? Lemon purpose. Brazil nuts, 8 of nuts. Teak, mango, happiness. Like really? The cups are the fruit trees, so that's a delight. Look, we got the devil is apple and the keyword is shadow. Of course it is. A treat. Wheel of Fortune is acacia. So cute. Chaos. But like, beautiful chaos. Important chaos. For there needs to be chaos in order for there to be change. Which is right there. Wow. Coffee, 2 of nuts, balance, hemlock, quince. Sorry. This is 2 of cups, unity. I love the quince. They look like butts. Love quince. Avocado. That's the Knight of Cups. Of course it's avocado. Anywho, it's fun. It's great. It's beautiful, and I like it so much. So I picked it. Wouldn't want to be without it. Tree Spirit Tarot. Okay, is that, I guess? Is that my indie deck choices? I think so. I think I'm going to stop here. I think I'm going to be a terrible person and put all of my honorable mentions in another whole video. I think so. I think that'll be easier. So if you want to see the honorable mentions, the ones I didn't pick, there's also 10. I'm going to do a separate video on them. I think I'll name it Not Only 10 Indie Decks. But yes, okay, yeah. So if you want to see that one, keep your eyes peeled in a little while. But otherwise, that is it. Those are my 10. Let's put them out for you to see. The 10 indie decks that I could not do my thing without. Alrighty, here we have it. I've done it. The only 10 indie decks. Where did I start? I started with this one, the Illuminated Earth Oracle. Days of Creation by Silicon Way. Super Oracle. Ritual Tarot. Hellenic Oracle. Rackham Oracle. Philarcos Tarot. Robert M. Place's Alchemical Tarot. Tree Spirit Tarot. And the Red Seeds Monstrosities. Large amount of cards that I'm counting as one deck. Those are them. This is it. This is my 10. these are the 10 that I would choose if I had to pack up and only take 10 indie decks with me. And I would probably be okay, but there are 10 that I would be sad about, and they will be in the honorable mentions video because I'm a terrible person. But anyway, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. If you do the tag, please let me know. I would very much like to see it. But I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see all you fine people in my next video. Okay, hey, it's another day. I need to make a quick addendum. I realized that absolute disaster happened when talking about my only 10 indie decks. I missed one because it was in my bag, so it wasn't with the rest up here. It wasn't like, it was just so like incorporated as a fundamental part of the way I live my daily life in the world that I forgot to include it. So we're going to talk about that right now. I'm going to throw it in as a bonus, but also it might, like, it belongs on the list. So I think if it's going to bump any of them from the list, it'd probably be the last one, the Tree Spirit Tarot, which is sad, but I have to have this one. So, what one am I talking about? Here it is. It is this one. It is the Ashura Tarot by Sarah Wheatley. This one is, yeah. I have to. It's incredible. It's on the list. This one fills the place of that like little bit thothy, little bit symbol-ridden, modern bright color, geometric kind of, you know, Golden Dawn Association type tarot, which what the list was lacking a little bit. There's a few in the next video where I talk about the ones that didn't quite make the list, but like this one has to be here. And it's just little and pocket sized. It travels with me everywhere. It reads so well on the go. It's just beautiful. I'm absolutely like obsessed with it, so it has to be here. So this is the Ashura Tarot by Sarah Wheatley. This is a print-on-demand deck, I believe, from Gamecrafter. The Ashura Tarot had to be on the list, and it is up there as one of my all-time favorite decks that I just so happen to be a terrible person and forget. But yeah, that one. Okay. We're good. You can go about your day now. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.